Evening. It's good to be on the same side of the globe in a similar galaxy. You and I are in a similar galaxy emotionally, physically, physiologically, and now logistically. So, my name, I tend to forget my name. My name is Dr. Tova Goldfein. This is TMS Roundtable um, Recovery. And it's our usual Wednesday night. And you guys all know how happy I am on a Wednesday night when I'm sitting here and my studio gets blessed with an angel, a soul like Alec. Let me put up your name and then I'm going to introduce you and then I'm going to be quiet. Hold on. I want to introduce you, Aleks Certa. I want to mention how we met. I think you for a while for a very short time you were posting your story and I caught it and then I jumped in and contacted you and heard this amazing, outstanding, I have to say it, saved by Sarno story, but saved by your own absolute brilliance, intuition, facing your fear. And I asked you to be on my broadcast and you were like, sure. And then you got busy continuing healing, your family, writing this amazing book that you'll mention. And then we scheduled it. And so I am so grateful. Thank you so much because this is kind of about me. Thank you for coming and sharing with me and my audience and our audience and so many people who will get this story and learn that they can heal themselves again, again, and again, falling and getting up and falling and getting up. Could you share with the listeners how you fell and got up and fell and got up?
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Aleks, and nearly a year ago, it was August 2023, I felt this like niggle of pain it was basically like just behind my hip in my buttock, in my left buttock. And it was just a niggle, ignored it. And then over quite a short period of time, that niggle turned into very severe pain that literally put me to bed. And I did not know what was going on. I actually see a chiropractor just, to keep on top of my maintenance anyway. So I've messaged there and I'm like, I don't know what this is, but this doesn't feel right. And I'm in a lot of pain. And at this point, it was like week 2. And she basically said, just get yourself to MRI, but I think you have this. Um, so anyway, I booked myself for MRI. It was like I went private, so it was 2 days after. And the diagnosis was basically my 2 low disc prolapsed, how they call it now, and one went left, one went right. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? And the lady on the phone, the one who gave me diagnosis, she's like, I think you're gonna need surgery. This is not gonna get better by itself. And I was like, okay. And I kid you not, like following that phone call, I've gone even worse. And then I went on the internet and I was like, look, maybe there are like injections that you can get. So maybe that's like a route for me. So that's what I've decided to do. I got myself for an appointment, and at this point, I could not sit at all. That was causing me too much pain. So I was literally horizontal in a car, driving for that appointment to get injection in my low back. And I got the injection, and that 24 hours after was honestly the worst 24 hours of my life when it comes to pain. Like left side of my body was just spasming, and I couldn't stand, I couldn't sit, I could lie in a fetal position on the right hand side, not to touch anything with the left side of my body. But like you're still living, like you still have to go for a pee, or you have to uh, do like
You have a child and a husband
and
and
for a daughter, yeah, exactly. And throughout all this, nothing was making any sense. Like, okay, so it's just like a disc prolapse. And I should also add, so I've got a daughter who has like a rare genetic condition, and as part of her condition, she actually has like spinal surgeries every 6 months to correct her kyphosis and scoliosis. And the long surgeries, yet I kid you not, week to 10 days after, she's totally fine and completely back to normal in her movement.
Wow.
So at this point, I was week 3 with a lot of pain, and it just was not making any sense. It was like why am I getting worse? And how come my daughter, whose back is literally sliced open and she's got like metal rods on both sides of her spine, how come she's fine? It just wasn't really comprehending. So anyway, it got to like week 4, and I wasn't really like doing anything. I was literally just still on the right hand side, like losing my wits, going on the internet, like searching for any answer I could get. And anyway, the doctor who gave me the injections like, oh, maybe you need another one. So I was like, but the first one didn't work. But he's like, oh, maybe you need like a top up, so maybe that will work. So this is what I did. So I went, spent some more money. I went for a second injection, and it did not work. And then at this point, he was like, okay, so this is when you need a surgery. Now, I'm in the UK, and we are on the public medical system. So, under that system, there's basically 3 years of wait for the surgery. Like, there's just no way I can live like this for 3 years. So, I inquired privately. I got myself appointment. I saw the surgeon, and I never forget the words he said to me, because he basically said, well, okay, you can have the surgery, or maybe there is another way for you. And I was like, oh, what do you mean? Because I'm very much like, trust the doctors. He's got the training. But when he said maybe there is another way for you, that sparked something. But anyway, I was like, look, I want to schedule the surgery. So he's like, okay, so the soonest I've got is basically, so at this point we were at the end of the end of September, and he scheduled my surgery at his nearest availability, which was 4th of November.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was like a month and a few days in front of me. And he's like, okay, so my secretary will call you and, tell you like what you need to do. And this is it. And, where you need to pay the money. And I should add, it wasn't the money I just had just sitting in my bank account. It's like, yeah, let's just spend it on surgery. But, I was in so much pain, and you become very resourceful. Because you just want this pain to go away. You're like, what is happening to me? What's happening to my body?
Weren't you just freaked out, like how this, like all of a sudden, or was it not
Yeah,
all of
I,
a
wa-
sudden?
I was I was really freaked out, because if you were to ask me like, what's going on in my life, were you stressed? Well, I would just tell you like, no, not really. It's just normal life. But with hindsight, yes, I was, and basically I was burning out. But it was so masked, and so like become such a normal for me, that I was on this like high speed train. I should also add, I run my own business. So, and basically like this business feeds us as a family. So it was a lot of pressure I was putting on myself. I was doing a lot for clients, a lot for, and just, just getting anything through the door. And like with hindsight, like now I'm well.
Ah, Alec, come back. Come back. Hold on. Alec will be back. She's pretty internet savvy, so she might have pressed something. Anyway, so this is TMS Roundtable Recovery, and Alec is probably number 247 broadcasts. We've been uh, showing up live weekly here on the roundtable to discuss with doctors and therapists and authors and movie directors, all talking about the power of self-healing, autoimmune disease, and chronic pain. And here is Alec. Did you press something?
I did not press anything. Oh, wow. You were gone for a sec.
It's
No, I
okay.
did not press anything.
No, it's okay. I have
It's,
enormous amount of trust, and now that we're here, So I just got to do a little talk, a little bit about, like, I think this is number, anyway, enough about me. Go ahead. So wait a minute. This is important because listeners want to know, like, what do you mean, like, all of a sudden, like a prolapse? Nothing happened. You didn't fall, no impact. You didn't go scuba diving. You didn't go skiing,
No,
surfing. You didn't go surfing. You didn't go jogging. You didn't pick up a pencil off the floor. Like,
yeah. So I was actually like when I first felt the niggle, I was actually on my bike, but I was biking every day anyway. So it wasn't like out of ordinary activity. It wasn't like hardcore biking. It was just literally like being on like cycling in essence. So some people say like biking is like motorcycle, but no, it wasn't that. It was like literally cycling. And
yeah.
like I do it frequently anyway, so it was just not making any sense, like at all. It was very all of a sudden, and like that first day, it did not put me to bed, but it was always there. It was like a niggle that wouldn't go away. Like I literally felt it from like all my waking hours. And then like every day, gradually worse, worse and worse. Like up to like I said, like week 3, I could not do anything. I was literally in horizontal, like calling emergency services because
So, like, what was the fear? The fear of all this, or the anger, or you're like, couldn't figure it out. Like, behind that is like you figure things out. Like, you are a doer. You get things done. So, what was like going on for you to not be able to figure this out?
really good question. What was going on for me? At the beginning, as well as trying to find answers from like medical professionals, what was going on for me was like total avoidance, if I'm honest. So like numbing myself with different series. And then later on, I should add like drugs came into equation as well. So I've been given like really strong opioids, and that would just send me totally out. So I wasn't present. I wasn't present with myself. Wasn't present with my body. There was just pain and nothing else, and like everything halted. So stuff I was doing for my business halted. Stuff I would like ordinarily do in a house, like like nothing was happening. Like there was just pain, and that was the entirety of my existence. So I was basically hoping, the surgery gonna like fix things, and then I was just like, right, let's just wait, right? I should also add, so like I do have like my own shaman, so she would do like shamanic healing on me. And at this point, I was basically trying anything that would work, like anything whatsoever. So my chiropractor wouldn't actually see me because she's like, no, you are in too much pain. Like I touch you and you're gonna scream. Um, but like anything, like energy clearing, like Reiki, that sort of thing. Like I'm personally really open to it, and at this point in the position where I was like, let me just try anything whatsoever. Um, Plus, like I was actually getting worse. Hence, like the painkillers come into place. I remember like there was this one situation, and by the way, like even like I don't want to go in like too graphic, but even like going to toilet, that was like a massive operation where you basically I would like plan my route to my toilet, which is next door to my bedroom anyway, but literally holding on to the walls and using my other hand like to ask my husband to help me in essence, and just trying to crawl myself on, um like just to do like my basic bodily functions. And so anyway, so there was this one, we actually had like a good morning with my daughter, and she brought pancakes to the bed because I was literally living in that bed. We had some pancakes, and I was like, oh, let me just go and use the toilet. And I was like walking to the toilet, and I don't know what happened, but I lost consciousness, and I fell on the floor. Um, Apparently, I wasn't out that long, but my husband got really scared. He's like, right, I think we need to call the ambulance.
You fainted. You kind of fainted.
Yeah, yeah.
Was it the pancakes?
I don't think that was a pancakes. I still don't know what it was. But yeah, I ended up like being like driven to A&E, basically, like, in an ambulance. And then guess what? They couldn't help me.
It's not like you needed this drama, but this was drama. This
It's
is a
massive
drama.
drama, right?
So
Like I know.
waiting to hear about what the drama did for you. But so you everything. So you went to the hospital. They didn't find anything, and they sent you back home.
Yeah. hmm So the only thing they said was like, look, you need to like maybe up your painkillers. So it was actually like it's not like nothing against you do what you need to do type of thing, but like for me it wasn't the best advice, you know. So anyway, like time was getting along, and it got to like 2 weeks before the surgery, and I really did not want to have that surgery, I should add, because I know what surgery entails, and I know it's usually like it's not like you go and you back to normal, like you never have the same body. Um, so I was like, what else can I do? And I was like at the like hanging on by a thread. I was like, let me just search the internet like one more time. And I literally put how to heal my back. Guess what? Dr. Sarno's book just came out. And like, ta-da! I've ordered it, and it came the next day. And I kid you not, I read it cover to cover, and I decided I'm gonna walk. And for the first time in like 2 months, at that point, I went downstairs because we have like a one floor house.
It's like I'm almost like I cannot believe it. Like it's almost like, and I hear it over and
Yeah,
over and over, and it just the power of your pain was like for a moment turned into petro, and that's all chemical, fight or flight, parasympathetic. I don't know what went on, but say that again. You read the book cover to cover. You saw yourself in the book. It was like the book was written for you.
yeah,
You know, Danny Fagan, when she was on my show like 3 years ago, and she said, I didn't even have to highlight because everything in there was about me. That's
yeah,
what she said.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And this is like when I was like, okay, one sentence spoke to me the most. And the sentence was, there's nothing wrong with you. And I think I'm pretty sure I've cried at just reading this book because it landed for me so much. And I was like, "Do you know what? Let me just like take a few steps." So I took myself downstairs. Um, my husband, I think, just went shopping. He got back home, and I was downstairs, and he thought something really bad happened. He's like, and I'm like, no, it's the opposite. I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna walk. So yeah, the pain was still there. And also there was another type of pain because don't forget I was in bed at this point for like 8 weeks. So of course my muscles were very, very weak. They go like that, by the way. They go really quite fast. So I knew I had to like take it slowly, but I set myself a challenge. Okay, so every day we're just gonna walk a bit further than the day before until we get to 10,000 steps. I did not know when that's gonna happen, but I'm like, this is my plan. This is my only plan. Um, I was still taking painkillers, but it got to like day 7 post reading that book. I just put them away. I was like, I'm not taking them anymore. I was making more steps, and then I called that doctor's office. I'm like, I'm canceling that surgery.
So wait a minute. You were lying in bed for 7 weeks.
Yeah,
Okay. You decide to get up and stand, deal with gravity,
yeah,
okay, potentially put pressure on nerves or
yeah.
whatever's going on in this, and when you walked, did you feel a certain kind of sensation, but it was something you were like, okay, sensation, we're going for a walk together? Like, what were you saying to yourself?
So this is maybe this will sound weird to some people, but what I've started to do is just talk to my lower back. So like I don't know if you're psychologist, that would probably represent some like part of subconscious, whatever. but I would literally like negotiate with it. I'm like, can we take like two more steps? Okay, maybe just one more. How are you feeling today? And then just leaning into it, and like don't be so fast, and like run everywhere and be like the doer and all that. Just be gentle, be slower. Um and yeah, and that week also, I should add, I was like, okay, let me just do some work. So I got back to work that week. I got
Very
myself a happy
important.
desk that I still use just because I do find it more comfortable, and especially like don't forget my muscles were really weak.
Mhm.
Um, but over time, that was just like getting better and better, and the pain was getting less and less. And before I knew it, yeah, it was gone. And like another thing I should add, so like I also bought myself this journal. I forgot the author of it, but it was like 30 days to
Dr. Schechter,
yeah,
David Schechter,
yeah.
the
So I got
Mind Body Workbook, the Mind Body Workbook.
mind body work with it. That's it. And just start exploring more and learning about this, because like even if you have something actually have something physical going on, and like, and you guess you would put me under that category because I had diagnosed two disc prolapse. And that was a fact. Even if that's a fact, there is amazing side of our psyche, of our brain, that is not really that well documented, you know um and like, even if that's going on, you can still influence your healing, and you can influence like body positivity by like sending yourself good vibration. You can still influence it. I mean, like, I'm sure Dr. Tova, like way more about this than I do, but this is just like to, my own exploration. This is how like I came across you and like this show. So it's really interesting that I'm the guest now. Um, and also I would like read Dr. Sarno book like literally every day, because
You mean that you kept reading the same book over and over,
yeah,
or
yeah, because like for me. So this is what it was doing, when you like old conditioning would like take over, and trying to be like, oh, don't be silly, you had this going on, and like your mind can heal you, like, it just took me a while to get on board with it, where I had to persevere and be like, just be open. So they were like, it was almost like two sides of me fighting. There's the rational side, the one where like, trust the doctors, na. But there was also the side which was, let us open up to another way, because guess what? I've tried the conventional. I've been to injections, and also from what that surgeon said, there was no 100% guarantee that surgery will even work for me, right? So I would still like wake up having paid all this money, um, and still be poorly. So, yeah, so this was basically my
so wait, so like it just sounds like such a smooth ride, more or less, like smooth in the sense of you started walking a little bit every day, talking with your brain. What I'm hearing is enormous compassion and grace and hope, and like, not like you said the word, like you didn't negotiate. It wasn't like, oh, do you think you can get better? It was like, you're getting better. This is an affirmation that is becomes the chemical
Mhm.
of you being the placebo. Like, this is going to work.
Yeah,
Like, I'm going to build up my muscles and create less inflammation from my brain to my body, and somehow heal the pain in my brain, and my back will feel better. Like, you seem to, because you also got it, something about you. So there was a lot of reason for you to be one of these, not a book cure, but similar
yeah,
to what people say. So
yeah,
let me interrupt, like I do, and just stop you for a minute. During this time, you were doing the workbook, which is amazing, Dr. Schechter's Mind Body Workbook, 30 days. There's amazing. Dr. Howard Truberner's got a 28-day program, really heavy with journaling and meditation. So you were like in a meditative state. You were doing pain processing therapy. You're safe. Everything is okay. You can do this. The pain is not hurting you. It's protecting you. It's not like you were already, without you even doing therapy with me, you didn't know about the payment processing therapy. You didn't really, you were just doing it
Yeah.
naturally.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I guess I had to go through the journey I had. So like there's a reason, there's always a reason why like things happen to us. I'm a massive believer like in that part.
So big.
And you know, like have I found this book on like my week one, I probably would have dismissed it as BS. But because nothing else was working, I was like, do you know what? And another thing that convinced me was like, so hold on a sec. So this book has been in print for like 40 odd years and it continues to be print.
30 languages.
Yeah. So I'm like, this is basically like a Shakespeare of, you know, back pain. Like it just continues to spread his message because he also like passed away. Like I binged on whatever is left of his YouTube and different interviews. Like I binged on all this, but you know there are people like yourself that are like carrying that message in essence. Um, but yeah, this like it's still I still can't like I know I've just explained it, but like if someone is watching and it's like this is not making any sense because you know like how it was like yeah this is what happened, there's no other way to explain like I could basically give it gave me massive perspective of we've been talking about just before we went live that like actually we only have this life on this earth, like this is it. So it's not like this is a rehearsal. Like no matter what you believe in, like you're not gonna have this body after you die. So and it's our vessel, right? So that connection, like your mind, your spirit, and your body is that this holy trifecta of what we need to look into for the healing to happen. Like so yeah, so I was like talking before, like in retrospect, I was heading for burnout. And like for me, the back was like I guess my body's way of saying, no, 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 we're not doing it. Hold on. So literally putting me to stop.
But what do you think the deeper core feeling was driving, the brain to protect you? Like,
Yeah. So it was like ultimately there was a lot of fear. So like I was like touched on this before, like I run my own business and quite a lot of writing on it. And like I basically let this took over as the most important thing in my life. But actually it's not. Like sure it's important, but like like I'm not one with it. And I was becoming slave to it, like saying yes to things that I should never have said yes to,
ah,
you
like
know?
you wanted to say no, but you said yes. It's like Gabriel Mate's book, like when the body says no, like you were kept saying yes. Like it's like you had to give up your authenticity just to get, wow. So go ahead, continue with that. So you were understanding your relationship with your work.
Mhm.
Wow, wow, wow.
But like this that came as the healing was taking place, you know? This came like, you know, I saw this quote somewhere that it said like the answer is in the pain. And when you are brave enough to actually sit with the pain, this is when the answer will show up. And it's very true. Because for me, it only came it only came afterwards. It only came like after I stopped escaping and numbing myself with, you know, like nothing against friends, but how many times can you watch the same thing? Do you know what I mean? It was just numbing um that I was doing to myself. So I needed that wake up, you know, and that book and finding it when I did was just like opening me up, like, right, there's another way and it's available if you want to explore it. And really, really interestingly, this is what I've watched because you will see it more than I do because but like anyway, I've briefly went to the realm of different Facebook groups, and there's one as like anybody with back pain, there's one side of the story, which is surgery, what's wrong with you, doctors, na na na. And those people, most of those people anyway, tend to like be in pain for a while, like longer than me. We're talking years. Um, and they cajole it, they cajole in it. And there's the other side. It's like, right, is there another way? Let us explore, which is like the TMS and that side of community. But it's very difficult unless you go to that side to marry those two up.
No, you're speaking a very good point that, first of all, it takes a lot of courage
Mm,
and to really face, the good, bad, and the ugly,
yeah.
which is really the beauty and the beast.
Hmm.
The second thing is there are so many people, like, look, our community, the TMS community and the mind body community is such a small peanut of the larger people that are suffering.
Yeah.
And so many people aren't stopping and saying, look, my doctor is a good guy. They're doing the best they can. They're doing what their job, but
Yeah.
I'm not getting better. So
Yeah.
why don't I explore a possible other route and maybe integrate? Like, I'll take my medicine, but like, let me do this mind body. I don't doesn't have to be black or white,
No.
but to slowly move over to understand that the brain is playing a part in every part of sickness and illness and disease, and thoughts can heal you and thoughts can hurt you. But I want to go back to, so you're walking a little bit every day, you're journaling, you're exploring, you're diving into the TMS world. But for some people, Aleks, they're not seeing improvement. So I don't want them to stop.
Yeah. So
So
like
what do
this.
you want? What can we
So
say to
I
people that
basically
are
like
not
the
doing?
the way I've said the story. I like it looks nice and linear, but every hero journey is not linear. Sorry to break this down to you, but
You should be an author.
like, but it's true, like it's just not. So like, so for example, like if things were going well for like as I was getting better, and like let's say for 2 3 days, I would not feel any pain. I was still like gentle with myself and resting. And don't forget, my muscles were very weak. So it was just that process of building myself up, right? So I knew, for example, that there's just no way I was ready, for example, to go back to cycling. Like, straight away after I was like, right, I decided. Like the process was gradual. So anyway, I remember it was like 2 or 3 days of like, wow, I actually feel amazing and there's no pain flaring up, and like I almost feel like I'm back to my old self. And then it got to the evening and the pain came back, and I was like, oh my god. And that literally put me into like a mini spiral, because I started sobbing. I was like, it's back, I ruined myself, what's wrong with me? And this whole spiral started again. So, and I remember like just I probably looked like a mad woman, and now I can talk about it because I have enough perspective, but at the time it just wasn't comfortable. And what I had to do was just release those emotions. I really had to just release myself from them. And for me, like the most healthy way is just literally put the pen back on paper and just write and write and write. And that I just stood and I wrote in my kitchen for like an hour and a half. Like I wrote like 30 pages front and back, and it was like, and that was like, okay, great, release. Let's go back to bed. And I was fine. That pain was gone. By the morning, it's completely gone.
So you lowered your expectations. You were more accepting of the reality. Okay, so
Yeah.
today I have sensations. Not like you didn't always go back to square one. You were like, oh, there's sensations, but I'm gonna stay on my journey. I'm gonna just accept this reality. I'm not gonna fight it. I'm gonna understand that because like you knew what the pain was meaning. It wasn't like, oh, what is this? It was no new surprises. You stayed very connected to this process. And maybe what we say by repetition, 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 you were just like, this is what I think Sarno says, if you think psychologically, then and stay with that.
Yeah.
Like like you might have had thoughts with surgery, this or that, maybe medicine, but you weren't like, but this is going to help my medicine. I just want people to see the power of the psychology and the power of their thoughts and the power of hope and gratitude. It's not like new age woo woo.
No, no, not at all. But I honestly think we almost became too medicalized, including myself in that category. Like it's almost like all the trust is people with white coats, right? And it's like actually like let's just take a step back for a sec, because how long have we had the medicine for? Not that long. Like anesthesia is only like 100 years old, 100 and a bit. Um, and before that, for any surgeries, you would just have to perform it with patient awake, in essence, or passing out from pain. But if you zoom out even more, like we've not had doctors, we've had herbs and witches and shamans, and that was like our way forward. And actually, guess what? Our bodies, our own bodies, like they ultimately want to have this place of equilibrium, this place of balance. So they don't want to be in pain. So if that's a fact, then surely they just want to get back to the healing on the circular level. Um. So yeah, like I don't, honestly, I don't have the medical background, and science was never my favorite subject. But like, so I take it very much like philosophically and kind of trying to explain it to myself. So I don't know if I'm making sense here. I hope I am.
Yeah.
But like this is it, and like, and also remembering the journey is not linear. The journey is very much, it's going to challenge you, right? Because if you believed in doctors and that's like the only way in, then like what's going to happen, right? Like you're not going to immediately go like, okay, let's just
Yeah.
attack. And like you say, like it doesn't have to be black and white. You can still take from this world and add what's working from you from the other world.
I mean, I always say this, I try to say it in every show, but Dr. Clark, who's this gastroenterologist and this very conservative, lovely man, and he's saying, talk about gray and not black and white. He's saying the problem, here's the solution. You need to be a butterfly on the wall of your childhood. This is advice. And I'm like, is there anything else you want to advise, Dr. Clark? Nope. And he wrote a book called they can't find anything wrong, and he's running the PBDA, which is the physio psychological disorders association, and he's just incredibly humble, just like Dr. Schechter, Dr. Hanscom, Dr. Schubiner, really great guys, all medical doctors that have been in both worlds, and they're not bashing doctors. They're saying there's not only another option, but sometimes a better option, and also a great hand in hand.
Yeah.
So we're talking about integrating. We're not talking about, look, to be a shaman is very extreme. To be, the Reiki, even chiropractic at some point was, they were thinking we were charlatans, and, the
Yeah.
medical community, sued the chiropractic organizations, whatever. But the point is that each individual person needs to decide. And I think it's important to find a doctor that lets you have a voice. This is, what should we do? What do you think we should do? How can we heal this together? And this is the future. This is your child's future. This is my grandchildren's future. Where medicine is integrated, is holistic, is how can we work together? How can we, so this is just another whole nother, this is my book. But
Yeah.
anyway, let's talk a little bit. Yeah.
And like this is it, because like I've already shared about my daughter, and like I'm not going the other way now, where it's like it's all natural and all that. Like no, like it's a fact. Like she goes through surgeries, very, very frequently. You know, she's only 8 and we're only halfway through this journey. So it's also like really important just to zoom out and find a solution that works for you. But you know, like even now, like she's getting older and she's more aware of like what's gonna happen, and yeah, and she will be in pain. There's no denying it, and then we're not sugarcoating it for her. But actually, like we know without it, like she would have very, very poor quality of life and probably very short one. So like medicine and how it advanced saved our family in essence, right?
Sure. Beautiful. Beautiful. Absolutely. Look, this is definitely an amazing discussion. And for you to have that perspective probably helped you in other ways, which we're not really, So you took you how long to walk your way each day across the living room? How many days did it take you approximately?
Um, so by December, I took enough courage to fly by myself to my parents and to get, it's only 2 hour flight.
6 months, September, October, November. That's like four months after you got
No,
out
so
of
like
bed.
I was horizontal. So 20th October, I was still horizontal, and I found the book around that time. My surgery was supposed to be 4th of November, which I cancelled the week before. So it was end of October that I cancelled it. Decided to walk, gradually increasing steps. I was at like 5,000 steps by beginning of December, and I was making 10,000 steps a day in January, and fine. And like another thing that I've like contributed massively to my healing was just like strengthening my body, was like starting Pilates. So I started that in November as well. Um, but you
Amazing.
know that I would say that is all like working together. And for me, that decision was like, right, actually, let's open ourselves up how my mind can work with my body rather than separate, compartmentalized. It doesn't have to be compartmentalized. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Alex, so you were like pain free or like painless, pain free?
Yeah. So, how long? Fully, I would say so. It's like 8 months fully pain free.
And what patience and perseverance, because we all want it now, free in the mail, overnight, done. Next, but you were just like the patience with yourself and the slowing down of the gears, which was
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. But like one thing that I want to add, um, so like now, whenever I have a hint of going against myself, like my body is like a barometer. So I literally have like immediate feedback where the pain is not the same severity, but it just kind of like it's like a tiny flare up, like pink. We're not doing that.
But do you thank it? You're like, hello,
Yeah.
come, let's have coffee together. What do you want to say to me? You're knocking on my back. It's a pretty big fist. What would you like to say? Speak a little louder back. Like you have a relationship with your body.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable. So talk. I love how you connect the book that you wrote that just came out.
Mm.
There's nothing to really to do about your back, but you make the deep connection about the book, and in the book you did write about it. Like I'd love you to share
Yeah,
that piece
sure.
of this.
So I'm a marketeer, so it's not like book about healing, although you could take it as it is because it is about healing of your business, if it's struggling.
Relationship.
Yeah. So I always wanted to write my own book, and I had really, really strong desire for the last 4 years, but I wasn't doing anything about it. It was just kind of on the desire pile and one day pile. Um, and then when I found Dr. Sarno, and especially the fact like how long has this book been in print for, and it continues to just help more and more people. And I'm like, wow, what an impact. And I was thinking to myself, right, so if only one person reads my book and it helps that one person, it's worth it, and it's my duty. So I wrote a book this year, and it came out last week, so 17th of July. I'll just show it. This is my book.
Show the whole picture. I love it.
Yeah.
Can you
So
hold it
it's
up?
basically called The Fully Booked, and it's available everywhere. Definitely on Jeff Shop, as I call it. Um, but yeah, like for me, that was like this spark that set me on the journey, because like I started writing in April, and I finished writing in June, and then it was just going through editing. So yeah, and a week out today, and more than one person read it, because I definitely have like half a dozen reviews already. So it's just allowing yourself to be open to different possibilities. That's my main message. So even if you are in pain, if you're watching it and you're like me back in September or October, where I literally could not move, I couldn't go to the toilet. I was in the depths of despair, and I was like, how am I gonna ever climb out of it? To now basically standing in front of you, pain free, wrote a book, just open yourself up to like those different possibilities that this is serving you as well, and you can't see it right now, but it is serving you. And I know, like, you have to be in a certain point to really really hear it. um
You know what it made me think of, Alex? You
mm,
know, it's also fearful. It's fearful to show up and open yourself up and take a risk.
yeah,
And so it's almost like you chose a different fear because you're
yeah,
like, out.
yeah.
And I think that's what people are thinking. Like, it's almost to soften, like to see the fear, the pain as an opportunity, to see the pain as the power, to see the pain as a challenge
Mm,
to grow. Like you said, I wrote it down, the answer in the pain. And it's not everybody's ready for that. And I want people to at least be open to that's their birthright
yeah,
to heal, because the body gets sick and the body gets well. And your body produced a couple of disc protrusions that were there before the MRI was even taken. The MRI was taken and they said that's it, the reason. And then you got into the cycle, you went down the rabbit hole, and the body started to feel worse. I mean, it's like the perfect storm happened.
yeah.
And wow, wow, wow. I'm so thrilled to hear the story, and I could listen to it all night.
It's just like,
Let
do you know what, like, even if like you're watching it, and if there's just one of you who's like open to maybe there's like a glimmer there for me, and I see myself a little bit in that story, then just grab that book, explore it, um like binge on those, because there's more people like me, right? You've done those interviews week after week after week, where there are more like what I call like survivors. I know it's like a big word, right? But it's all because you opened yourself up to how everything influences everything, and how like maybe the answer isn't just to listen to the doctors. Maybe the answer is to have like different things that work for you, and finding your own way, right? And being your own advocate.
Yeah. And it's not, people will read the book and be like, I'm not better. So we're not saying your story is Alex's story, but your story is your story. And what you did was you evolved in your story. You took risk,
Yeah.
and you trusted your body. And I think this is very important that people, they feel betrayed by their body.
Yeah.
And I think
And I did. I definitely felt betrayed by my body. I definitely betrayed. I was like, how dare you? And so angry, not recognizing it's actually doing me a favor. Because, like, I promise you, if I kept going as I was going in the summer last year, I don't know how that would end. You know, like that wasn't like a right way to be with myself. And I couldn't say no. So yeah,
unbelievable,
whereas
unbelievable, because you're kind of tough. You're kind of rough around the edges, a little
I
tough,
am,
but
I really
there's a
am.
part of you that's like, I think that's this, it's interesting that just because I've worked with you a little bit professionally. So there's this kind of tough part of you, but then you softened with yourself, and
Yeah,
then you sort of balanced out and just came to neutral, where
yeah,
you need to be neutral. You can be fast when you want to be fast, but you need to be slow, and to be much more aware of the fast, slow. So it's knowing yourself. And this is another part of the, pain being your superpower. Like, if it's going to teach you about yourself, and this is big. I've come bumped across up against this so many times, where people, they they found the gift in the drama and the trauma. They found the gift in the pain. They saw that they were not a victim. And once they were able to do that, complete shift.
yeah,
Like, it's almost like the fear melts away,
yeah,
because you're in power, you're in control.
yeah, yeah. But like, but then like the narrative for me was very much that like I was blaming me. Like there was like a big part of me that like there was like this whole like blame and shame, and it's like it's your fault, and what did you do? And like even like looking into like minute situation that happened years ago, where I felt like a twinge of a back pain or whatever, and then I was thinking maybe it's because I did this, maybe it's because I jumped out of a plane 12 years ago, and I did a skydive, and maybe it's that impact, like, oh, and like your brain goes to like like really like weird like cycles. um and like for me, you're totally right. For me, it was just about, and it came in those words, there's nothing wrong with you. And when I heard it, I really heard it, I was like, wow. And that relief is like a weight of me just fell, like, oof, yeah.
Unbelievable. So listen, I want our listeners to know that you really, when I reached out to you, like, you have a mission to help people, and you are in many ways, on many fronts.
Mm,
So if anybody wants to reach you, you have a Facebook page,
yeah.
Aleks Certa.
Mm,
Um, and you're not becoming a health coach, or some people just like rearrange their career and they're
no.
like just on a mission, you know. And so you dove back into your work in uh, a whole different speed.
Yeah.
And I don't think pain is going to ever scare you again. It doesn't mean that you're not human. And, and I imagine, would you say a few words in closing about how you're more in touch with your fear or your sadness or your shame or your anger, and how that you can like come to terms with those repressed feelings that, you know,
Yeah. So like,
Sarno talks
so
about.
this is like a massive thing that I've learned, that like if we repress our emotions, that they will find a way out eventually. And so like allow myself to feel them, even if it is anger, and just use it in a constructive way. Where like um I go and have a workout, or I would just like like a session with my journal where like literally everything would just pour out, whatever I'm angry on, or like call a friend and like one of those friends when you can just like call and say, can I just rant to you for 5 minutes? And you do the same to me down the line, and you know, once you have that permission, you just go for like a rant. And sometimes like all anger needs is just to be voiced. It's just to be out, in and out, because then it can't hurt you. It's the same like shame. Like shame is this massive monster, and still you start talking about it, and then suddenly you see everyone is the same, and this happened to that person, that person, that person, and then it's like, wow, that thread that's connecting us, all of us humans, it's so palpable sometimes when you stop hiding in your little um in your little shame room, right? And you see like actually we are so similar. So like me personally, like I love connecting with my intuition, and I go for a walk every day by myself, even if it is like 10-15 minutes, just to spend some time with nature, touch some trees. I think there's this ancient wisdom nature has, and we like living in a city, although you're moving to a country, but you know, living in a city, you forget, and you're like, whoa, just trees are everywhere. Feel free to touch them. Um, so yeah, that's really important for me, and you know, like and meditation as well, and just sitting in silence. So we get so addicted to dopamine and constant feed of social media and information everywhere, and wars and what's going on then, and actually I, I promise you, I promise you, I know it in my heart of hearts, if every single person on this earth meditated, even if it is for 10 minutes, we would be in a much better place.
I love it. I need to write that down. I've heard it before, but I love hearing it out of your precious mouth. 10 minutes. Yeah. You know, it's a very big concept. If all of us would just do one thing together, it would change the human race. And here we are in honor of Michael Jackson, one man at a time, looking at ourselves in the mirror and looking at the man in the mirror, and what I call being naked with your clothes on, being really
Yes.
authentic. And a lot of us, we didn't talk about our childhood. We don't have to, but we all had to give up a lot of authenticity to get love. And, you know, I'm a mother and a grandmother, and I know where I had to do that and where my kids had to do that. And we're all working on our intergenerational trauma, and so, but we don't have to carry the ball and chain with us to the next generation. We can just soften the blow.
Yeah.
And so thank God for your daughter and for you and your husband and your wisdom and your grace and your beauty and your wanting to come spend this hour with me. And
It's flown by. It's really flown
yeah,
by.
I think people are going to love this message. And so grateful. And
Thanks, thanks for having me.
yeah, if you ever want to come talk about it again, just call me up. We'll come right on the Be Live and talk
Yeah,
about it again.
for sure, for sure. I would love that. But like honestly, if you're watching and you are like literally like in the depths of your tunnel, and you don't know how to get out, like Dr. Tova, is amazing resource. Even by you binging on this will help you 100%. And you know, like reach out. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bless your
you.
heart.
Amazing.
All the best. Good
See you
night.
later. Bye.
Okay, 1 second.